So, judging from your databases, you are well aware that the average human possesses far greater physical vitality, reaction speeds, stamina, as well as what you labeled an innate ability to cope with stressful situations. Ambassador Yoras agreed, his fingers tapping in an uneven cadence on the sleek surface of the conference table. Yoras was an Aryan, a race of near-human-like creatures whose only real physical difference lay in the fact that Aryans were slightly taller than humans and had light blue skin tones. It was now actually a common misconception among most species to believe that the two peoples were actually one race. In addition, the speaker continued, "From what I gather, your people are becoming increasingly concerned with the decreasing numbers of humans and their shortening lifespans. I see that the war hasn't been kind to many races within the galaxy. At least 3 coalition races have been utterly annihilated, and at least 5 are now critically endangered, one of which happens to be humanity." Yoras sighed deeply. "Yes, I believe that was the 2410 census. The war hasn't been kind to anyone. Everyone has suffered greatly. We've all had to pay the price for survival. The Horde isn't something to be reasoned with. They butchered and ate our diplomats when we tried negotiating. I understand why an outsider would have concerns, especially if he feels a connection to a particular group. You must understand, however, that if we all thought like this, there would be no coalition. It was only through unity that we managed to keep the Horde back for as long as we did. We can't be left fending for ourselves when everyone here remains at risk." Murmurs of agreement echoed this sentiment. From her position within the giant round table of discussion, Jane glanced from her partner representative, and then back to the guest speaker. For this entire set of talks, her youthful mind had contributed no creative boons to the discussion. Likewise, Robert had remained silent the entire time. It had been the humans who had called for this meeting, and strangely, the two creatures who everyone saw as human had said nothing. The speaker of humanity today had not been from the short and stocky primates that commonly graced the table with ideas of imagination and optimism, but a titan of a humanoid who had remained seated within an iron throne of his creation. He could vaguely be described as an oversized human, but much about him seemed alien. Perhaps well-groomed, the long strands of silver-white hair hadn't been seen in humans for a long time. Facial hair was something that humans were known to possess, but never in the quantities where a large white beard would touch the chest. A black patch covered the right eye of this human, his solitary eye left to give a cold glare at whoever fell under its gaze. Besides, Yoras continued as the murmurings finally died down, "We're lucky to have the help of the humans. They make exceptional pilots, and their willingness to be on the front lines has made them one of the largest contributors to this whole community. I'd even be willing to say that a good number of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you people." "You are indeed correct, and I am glad you think that way," Zalos seethed. "Tell me, Yoras, why exactly is the average lifespan of my people 29 years? The same year our peoples made first contact, it was reported to be 117 years. Yoras winced. "Well, the constant warfare hasn't helped anyone's case. Surely you must know that. You will not tell me what I know and what I do not know, for nothing escapes my sight. My 2 contacts here have shown me the way this war has gone. Earth is on the front line as of now, a standing bastion against the Horde. Where I've been, I've seen toddlers holding rifles and children piloting interceptors. The 2 that stand by me? Both of them are tasked with representing Earth, yet neither one of them has seen 2 decades of life. Calm down. Besides, if you want someone to blame, I have someone to blame. This entire coalition. Would you care to explain why 30 years ago, the Horde's movements were projected to have gone in a route that would have entirely sidestepped Earth? And would you care to explain the countless fleet actions that then caused them to go straight into our solar system?" When Zalos stood up, his height cast a shadow over the entirety of the coalition. Arcane energies pulsed in his clenched fist as he glared balefully at the entire room. A foolish guard tried to seize the giant, only to be caught by a backhanded swing that left him as red mist. 18 hours ago, I waved my hand and opened a black hole that is 500 light-years in radius, straight within the heart of the Horde's territory. The majority of their forces have been crippled. 97% of their entire population lies within the heart of a singularity. Now then, give me one solitary reason why I should not wave my hand and open another one right within every last one of your worlds. Silence hung in the chamber, heavy and oppressive. It seemed for a moment that Zalos would indeed follow through on his threat, opening another singularity in space. Nothing could have stopped him, save for the gentle tugging at his cloak from the hand of a far more forgiving man. Zalos, please. Robert's voice was soft but firm. We must find another way. The towering figure of Zalos looked down at the young man who had dared to interrupt him. His cold gaze softened slightly. Speak, Robert. Robert took a deep breath, stepping forward. The coalition did fail us, yes. But destroying them won't bring back our fallen, and it won't secure a future for the survivors. We need to work together to rebuild, to ensure that such a catastrophe never happens again. We need to be better than our enemies. Zalos' eye bored into Robert, searching for any hint of deceit. Finding none, he let out a slow, measured breath. You speak wisely, young one. But know this, if the coalition fails humanity again, there will be no mercy. Yoras, visibly shaken, cleared his throat. We understand your frustration, Zalos. And we are committed to ensuring that humanity and all other races are protected and respected. This war has taken its toll on all of us, and we must rebuild together. Jane, finally finding her voice, added, We have suffered immense losses, but we have also learned the strength of unity. Let's honor those we've lost by creating a future where such horrors can never happen again. The coalition representatives murmured in agreement. The tension in the room began to ease, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. Zalos slowly sat back down, his immense presence still dominating the room but no longer threatening. Yoras continued. We propose a new initiative, a combined effort to rebuild and protect our civilizations. This will involve shared resources, joint scientific endeavors, and a unified defense force to guard against any future threats. We must also ensure that all member races are treated with respect and given the support they need to recover and thrive. Robert nodded. This initiative must include stringent measures to prevent any exploitation or neglect. Every member of this coalition deserves a voice and a hand in shaping our collective future. The discussion continued, with each representative offering their input and suggestions. The atmosphere was one of cautious optimism, as the coalition members began to outline a plan for recovery and cooperation. Several hours later, the meeting adjourned. Robert, Jane, and Zalos walked out of the grand hall together. The young representatives were exhausted but hopeful. Do you think they will follow through? Jane asked, her eyes reflecting both hope and skepticism. They must, Zalos replied. For if they do not, the consequences will be dire. But for now, we have given them a chance. Let us hope they do not squander it. Robert nodded, placing a hand on Zalos' arm. Thank you for listening, Zalos. Your power is immense, but your wisdom is even greater. The trio walked in silence for a while, each lost in their thoughts. The galaxy had changed forever, and the path ahead was uncertain. But they had taken the first step toward a new future, one where unity and cooperation might finally overcome the darkness of war. In the months that followed, the coalition's efforts began to take shape. New agreements were signed, and resources were pooled to help rebuild war-torn worlds. Joint research initiatives led to significant technological advancements, including improved medical treatments and sustainable energy sources. Humanity's role in these efforts was crucial. Their resilience and ingenuity, born from centuries of struggle and adaptation, proved invaluable. The Terran Empire became a beacon of hope and a symbol of the coalition's potential for greatness. On Earth, life slowly began to return to a semblance of normalcy. Cities that had been devastated by the war were rebuilt, and the population began to recover. The horrors of the past were not forgotten, but they served as a powerful reminder of the importance of unity and vigilance. Robert and Jane continued their work as representatives, traveling to various worlds to ensure that the coalition's promises were being kept. They faced many challenges and obstacles, but their determination never wavered. One day, As they stood on a balcony overlooking the rebuilt city of New Geneva, Robert turned to Jane with a smile. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" Jane nodded, her eyes scanning the bustling streets below. "We have. And there's still so much more to do." "Indeed," Robert said. "But we've proven that we can overcome even the greatest of challenges. Together, we can build a future where all species can thrive." As they watched the sun set over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the city, they knew that their journey was far from over. But they were ready to face whatever lay ahead, confident in the knowledge that they were stronger together. In the following years, the coalition continued to grow and strengthen. New races joined their ranks, drawn by the promise of a united galaxy where peace and cooperation prevailed. The threat of the Horde was a distant memory, but the lessons learned from the war remained etched in the minds of all who had lived through it. Zalos, once a feared and solitary figure, became a respected leader and advisor within the coalition. His power was immense, but he wielded it with a newfound wisdom and restraint. He dedicated himself to ensuring that the mistakes of the past were never repeated. As the coalition expanded, so did its influence. New frontiers were explored, and ancient mysteries were uncovered. The combined knowledge and resources of the member races led to unprecedented advancements in science, medicine, and technology. Humanity, once on the brink of extinction, flourished. Their culture, shaped by the trials and tribulations of their history, became a source of inspiration for others. The resilience and adaptability that had once been their survival mechanism now fueled their progress and innovation. Robert and Jane, now seasoned diplomats, continued to champion the values of unity and cooperation. Their efforts were instrumental in forging new alliances and resolving conflicts. They had become symbols of hope and determination, their names known and respected across the galaxy. One day, as they prepared for yet another diplomatic mission, Robert turned to Jane with a thoughtful expression. "Do you ever wonder what the future holds?" Jane smiled, her eyes filled with a sense of purpose. "I do. And I believe that as long as we continue to work together, the future will be bright." Robert nodded, his heart filled with optimism. "Agreed. We've come so far, and there's still so much more to achieve. Let's make sure that the sacrifices of the past were not in vain." As they boarded their ship and set off for their next destination, they knew that the road ahead would be challenging. But they were ready to face whatever came their way, united in their resolve to build a galaxy where all beings could live in peace and harmony. And so, the coalition continued to thrive, its members bound by a shared vision of a better future. The lessons of the past served as a guide, reminding them of the importance of unity, resilience, and compassion. Together, they forged a path toward a brighter tomorrow, one where the horrors of war were but a distant memory and the promise of a united galaxy shone brightly for all to see.